And when I got home, the paramedics were working on him in the living room. He was on the floor. And he never got a chance to do what he wanted to do. He wound up passing away. So
fast forward and you get this dream.
I had the dream.
6-7 years back.
Yeah, it was a while. I woke up and I told my wife, I looked at my wife. Now, meanwhile, I was working at the diner at the time. And I told my wife, I said, I had a dream of my dad. He was in a truck. I'm going to say a hot dog truck, hot dog cart. I think it was a truck. And he told me exactly what he used to tell me when I was a kid. If you want to make money, open up a hot dog truck. You got to open up a hot dog truck. And everything's got to be cash, 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 cash. So I looked at her and I said, I'm going to open up a hot dog truck. And she looked at me like I was crazy. She said, what? I said, I'm going to do a hot dog. I'm going to own a hot dog truck. I'm going to name it Sonny's Hot Dogs. My dad's nickname was Sonny. I'm going to name it Sonny's Hot Dogs. And that's what I did. I wound up leaving the diner, and I wound up buying a trailer. Guy was selling it. It was a hot dog trailer. It was like it appeared in the back parking lot of the diner when I was working one night.
So literally at the diner, someone pulled up in
and it was
a hot dog
there.
trailer.
I was actually walking with one of the cooks to dump the oil, and I was just taking a walk with him, and we were in the back parking lot. I look over there. There's a hot dog trailer for sale. And I said, you got to be kidding me, you know? So I took the number down, I called the guy, and I wound up buying the trailer off of him. So I went out and I bought a Ford Expedition. I bought it off of some guy in Tom's River off of Craigslist. And I used that to pull the trailer. And I wound up getting a spot in Englishtown on Route 516 near Raceway Park.
Yep.
And I was there. I did the hot dog trailer there for like a little over 2 years. And then I moved and I went up to Madison Park in Old Bridge. And I was there for almost 3 years. And from that moment on, I did the hot dog truck. I loved it.
Dude, we all have the best time ever to start a small business.
If I'm not gonna be 100% in, I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, man, just be yourself.
Yeah,
and just show up as yourself.
If you don't realize what I'm really about, I'm about freedom, family, and my country.
Dave, cheers. We got our water. We had to go late here. The rain was holding us out, dude.
Thank God it stopped.
It stopped and we were able to get it in. You know, we are so busy recently with, events in the pit and other stuff with the podcast. There was a few weeks that we missed there and we want to try to stay consistent. So
right.
I appreciate you holding out and going to grab a cup of coffee. And we've been shooting the shit for a while, actually, before we even got this started. You know, for anybody who watches this or is maybe from your ecosystem, I'll call it, this show is about turning around and helping other people.
Right.
Everybody comes from different walks of life, different stories, different trials, different tribulations, and you're a guy who's been through it.
Been through a lot, yeah.
Yeah, we heard a lot of your story the last hour, kind of hanging out and chit-chatting, and I want to tell a little bit about your story. We have guys on here with $100 million of revs, and we have guys on here with, very small businesses making just six figures, right? And we want to give everybody love and give everybody promotion. So that's why you're here. Mm-hmm. I have not had a Sonny's hot dog yet. I'm a hot dog connoisseur. My good friend Phil Rizzo, his father, and his uncle Sal used to own Boardwalk Hot Dogs in Brick.
Okay.
Years and years ago. I'm a big Thuman's guy.
Okay.
Or Boar's Head. I am going to get over to Sonny's. But I want to tell a little bit of your story.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, anytime.
So grew up, born and raised, Jersey City.
Correct.
The age of 17, your father passed away.
Correct.
Massive heart attack, 50 years old. He was very well connected, and we'll leave it at that, inside of Jersey City, inside the town. The mayor at your father's funeral came up to you and said, hey, let's get you a job.
Right.
So you go into the water department. You do that for a good amount of years, 20 years. Bouncing around. Not a bad gig. You're doing something good.
Actually, it was good. It was good times. I'd do it all over again if I could. I'd do it all over again.
You were probably, when you decided to try to go into the academy, how old were you at that age? 35, 36?
36. I was 35 when I went into the academy the first time with the state. Yeah, 35.
So from 17 years old, a lot of people who go and work for the town or work for the city or work for the state, 17 years old to 35, you've now been doing this 17, 18 years. It's a long time.
Yep.
It's
a long time.
You get bored of it, so you're like, I'm going to do something more. You always wanted to be a cop.
Yeah, because a lot of buddies of mine are police officers, family members, and stuff like that. It was just something I always wanted to do since I was a little kid,
So you're like, screw it. I got a family. Now you have a wife and 3 kids at the time.
Correct. Yeah.
You
kids were young.
You go into the academy. You take a leave of absence from Jersey City, someone rats on you. They make you retire officially.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that story going into the academy.
Well, it was when I went in the academy, and I was the oldest in my class at the time, and I was in the academy, and I got a word from the city of Jersey City, the water department. Somebody opened up there because you're not supposed to. Because I took a leave of absence, not supposed to take a leave of absence, work a second job. I kind of knew it, but I did it anyway. And when I was at that time, I thought about things differently and stuff like that. I was a different person. And I got a letter stating I had to go back to Jersey City and talk to the mayor's office and stuff like that. So I went back and they told me, listen, you either have to come back or go on doing what you're doing. So I kind of got a little angry and I wound up retiring from the city early. And I left and I went into the academy. And I did the academy at the age of 35 years old, 35 going on 36. And I went in and I lasted about 6 weeks in with them. And I wound up getting thrown out of the academy for weapons possession.
Which was a stupid pocket knife on your keys.
Pocket knife on the keychain. That turned into a big thing. That lasted a couple of years.
And I'm going to talk about that real quick. You had to go to court. They had discharged you. You have kids at home. They're not giving up on their story. You come back. The lieutenant at the time tells you, hey, we were actually wrong, but we already filed the paperwork, so it is what it is. That doesn't sit right with a guy like you. And the reason I'm pointing this out for anybody who's watching is we go through these different turbulent times in our life, and you never know where it's going to lead you to where you're happy now, right?
It actually, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason in life. You know, it might be good, it might be bad. You don't know. I mean, it could be really bad. And you're not going to know what it's about, but sooner or later you're going to find out, you know. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am now. I know I wouldn't be where I am now.
So you go and you win this eventually. They have to pay you all this back pay. Mm-hmm. They reinstate you. You're now 40.
42.
42 years old, going back through the academy now. You get your back pay.
Never got it.
Oh, you never got it? You never got it at all?
Never got it, no. I kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and they kept telling me, you're going to get it, you're going to get it, you're going to get it. I had a written court order, $78,000 in back pay, and to this day, I'll give you one even better. They never even gave me a preliminary hearing to release me legally.
No
never
shit.
even gave it to me. They never took my nothing. They never took my ID. They never took my badge. Nothing. They just wanted me out. They wanted me out. So I got my ID. I got my badge sitting home at my house. And I said to my attorney at the time, I says, you know, what do I do with this? He says, hold it. I says, why do I have it? He says, because you never got a preliminary hearing. And in order for them to take that back, you have to have that hearing, and nobody ever gave it to you. I said, so basically I'm still employed. He says, well, if you want to open up a can of worms, I guess you could if you really want to. But, you know, my wife had a lot to do with me not going back and not pursuing it, because I could have really, if I really wanted to. I was low on the cash because you need attorneys, and I didn't have the cash to do it. And it was just too much of I seen what I was putting my wife through and my kids and everything, and I just said, you know, it's time to move on.
Yeah, so you had two battles with them, though.
Yeah.
The first battle was them kicking you out of the academy. You won that. And then you got your job. They send you out to a place. The guy that you had beef with at the academy, his buddy's the captain out there. Mm-hmm. And you run into an instance there. You get into a fight. You hurt your knee. You're out on workman's comp.
SLI and then workman's comp. I was out a little over 2 years total.
And then you fought them again there because they wanted to discharge you. They were actually caught manipulating the paperwork, and they walk away with
They falsified my medical records.
Yeah, and you walk away with a little bit of cash, and you start working at the family's diner. And again, for those watching, his story was really good. We actually should have been filming when you were talking over there. You know, some of the good details and kind of just how you talk and you get excited about this stuff. But the reason I wanted to give that backstory is to let people know you never know where your destination is. You never give up, especially wanting to be a business owner. this led you to going to work for your wife's family diner, which is a Greek diner. You went in there to do security. It was in Newark. They had some tough times Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So you went in there, slowly but surely you're doing inventory, you're overseeing the kitchen, and it kind of got you into that world of food.
I kind of liked it, and seeing my father-in-law there, because he used to be there a lot of times with me, and he used to tell me, I'm married to this place. I'm married to, that's all he did was work. He had one day off a week. And my father-in-law worked a midnight shift. So he would go in at 10 o'clock at night, and he wouldn't get out until 7 in the morning. And he had opportunities to go on days, evenings. He stood on the midnights. And I don't know how he did it, but he did it. He's 85 years old now. 83 years old now, I'm sorry. And he stopped working about maybe 6-7 years ago. My wife and my brother-in-laws had to basically hold him down to stop him from working because he's a workaholic. And I know where my wife gets it from. My wife's a workaholic. And they wind up, Dad, stay home, stay home, stay home. And he constantly, one day he had off on Wednesdays. I remember when I used to date my wife, I used to go over there, I used to be home on Wednesday nights. And but yeah, he was doing 6 days a week for well over 40 years. How he did it, I don't know how he did it, but he's a strong man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made him different back then.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't
Old man club.
They didn't believe in being sick.
Yeah.
If you were sick, you went to work.
Yeah.
That's how they were. And that's how my wife is today.
I mean, that's how I am. I got bills. I own companies. I do this. It's me.
Yeah.
I have a team of people, obviously, but it's I'm the main driving face, factor, voice. I got to get up and work.
You got it. And my wife's the same way. When I was with the city of Jersey City, they gave us sick time and vacation time. And I would get up, my throat's bothering me, or, I'm calling out sick. What do you mean you're calling out sick? You can't be home. I was like, you know what? I should have went to work. You know what I mean? Because listening to her complain all day about me being home, I'm getting paid. They give me the time. She goes, yeah, I know, but, save it. Workaholic. My wife was pregnant with all 3 of my children and went through college pregnant with all 3 kids and went all the way to get her master's degree, pregnant.
Tough woman.
And I don't know how the hell she did it. And worked a full-time job. And she worked a full-time job. She went to college, and she had raised 3 kids. And to this day, I said, God, man, God bless her. And she's a very strong woman, and she's, even till today, she works.
Strong to deal with you.
Yeah, right? I know. Yeah, but that's how they are, especially Greek people.
Yeah.
The Greeks, they're workaholics, man. I got to hand it to them.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah.
They go to work. So you're learning the restaurant business. You're starting to enjoy it. You obviously want to do your own thing. At what point did you say, hey, I want to start Sonny's? Talk a little bit first about your father's dream back when he was young and you guys would go hit the hot dog stands in Jersey City.
Growing up as a kid in Jersey City, my dad knew a lot of people. Up in Jersey City back in the 70s, basically almost on every corner, there would be a hot dog cart. And everywhere I went out with my dad, everybody knew who he was, everywhere I go. So he used to take me to all the hot dogs. He used to go and talk to people, and I used to go to the hot dog stands, and they used to give me hot dogs. And never had to pay for them, they would hand me the hot dogs. I would eat the hot dogs and stuff like that. And he would always tell me, if you ever want to make a lot of money, he goes, that's going to be me one day. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? He's like, I'm going to have my own hot dog stand one day. He goes, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And I'm like, I'm young, 7, 8 years old. And I'm like, you want to do hot dogs? That's fine. I didn't know anything. So he's like, you want to make money, you got to do it. He goes, all these guys I know that own these hot dog stands, he says, they're loaded with money. They got money. They got a lot of money in their pocket, And I was like, all right. And I kept remembering him saying that. And even when I was home at the house, growing up with my mom and with him in the house, he used to talk to my mom about it, how he always wanted to do it. And that's all he kept talking about. He says, the day that comes that I retire, I'm going to have a hot dog truck. So I said, all right. So he was pursuing that. He was working. And then when he was with the city, he was retiring soon. He didn't say when, but at the age of 47 years old, he started developing health problems. And he went to the doctors, and they found out that he had heart disease. I was young at the time. But my dad was the type of guy, he really didn't talk much about anything, he was very to himself. you know, a thick-headed Italian man, you know, never wanted to go to doctors, never did anything. For him to go to the doctor, he was bad, you know, because that's how he was. So he found out that he had heart disease, he had an enlarged heart, and he was on tons of medication, and the doctors told him that he needed a triple bypass. This is about 1983, 1984, and the doctors came out. Now, back then, bypass surgery, you know, wasn't
Not
big
like
it is today.
today, yeah.
You know, forget it, you know, but back then, the doctor told him, you know, it's a 50-50 shot. We put you on the table, you know, there's a 50-50 shot. So my dad heard that. He didn't care. He smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That didn't hold him back. He kept smoking his cigarettes. He says, well, I'll tell you this. He says, when I take my first heart attack, he says, you can cut me open and make all your repairs that you have to make.
Now, during all this, your dad still had this dream. He went and built this truck that sat in front of your house.
Yeah,
he was
got
getting
the
ready
truck.
for that hot dog truck.
He had the truck out in front of the house. He did all his paperwork. He got all his permits because he knew what he wanted to do. And he was due to retire because he was just tired of what he was doing, you know, with the politics and all that stuff. So he had the truck outside. I remember he actually spray painted the truck with a can of spray paint. He spray painted it black. And he was like a little kid with this, and it was something he always wanted to do. And the truck sat out there, and then when he was 50 years old, 1985, we had every Sunday we would have dinner at the house. The family would come over, and we had dinner. He was at the table eating. Everything was good. I had left, and I went to drive my girlfriend home. And when I got to her house, her mom was at the window, and she said, "Your sister's on the phone. She's crying. I think something's wrong. Something happened at your house." So I ran upstairs. I got on the phone. She says, "I think Daddy died." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I just left him. He was fine." She goes, he's not responding." So I flew back home. It was only about a half a mile. And when I got home, the paramedics were working on him in the living room. He was on the floor. And he never got a chance to do what he wanted to do. He wound up passing away. So
Fast forward, and you get this dream.
I had the dream.
6-7 years back.
Yeah, it was a while. I woke up and I told my wife, I looked at my wife. Now, meanwhile, I was working at the diner at the time. And I told my wife, I said, I had a dream of my dad. He was in a truck. I'm going to say a hot dog truck, hot dog cart. I think it was a truck. And he told me exactly what he used to tell me when I was a kid. If you want to make money, open up a hot dog truck. You got to open up a hot dog truck. And everything's got to be cash, 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 cash. So I looked at her and I says, I'm going to open up a hot dog truck. She looked at me like I was crazy. She said, what? I said, I'm going to do a hot dog. I'm going to own a hot dog truck. I'm going to name it Sonny's Hot Dogs. My dad's nickname was Sonny. I'm going to name it Sonny's Hot Dogs. And that's what I did. I wound up leaving the diner, and I wound up buying a trailer. Guy was selling it. It was a hot dog trailer. It was like it appeared in the back parking lot of the diner when I was working one night.
So literally at the diner, someone pulled up in a
and it was
a hot dog
there.
trailer.
I was actually walking with one of the cooks to dump the oil, and I was just taking a walk with him, and we were in the back parking lot. I look over there. There's a hot dog trailer for sale. And I said, you got to be kidding me, you know? So I took the number down, I called the guy, and I wound up buying the trailer off of him. So I went out and I bought a Ford Expedition. I bought it off of some guy in Toms River off of Craigslist. And I used that to pull the trailer. And I wound up getting a spot in Englishtown on Route 516 near Raceway Park.
Yep.
And I was there. I did the hot dog trailer there for like a little over 2 years. And then I moved and I went up to Madison Park in Old Bridge. And I was there for almost 3 years. And from that moment on, I did the hot dog truck. I loved it. The thing with the hot dog truck, seasonal.
Yeah.
Once, you know, December.
Once it's too cold.
Yeah. I mean, November was a bit. December, January, February, forget about it. You might have just close up, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you get your customers, your loyal customers, but you ain't putting no table out there.
No.
People coming and
Yeah.
sitting and eating like they normally do in the summer. I played music. I had the music playing. I had a TV screen. They used to sit and watch TV, listen to the music. I hooked it up because I wanted the people to feel comfortable. So I went and got picnic tables. I had 4 picnic tables. I had everybody sitting out there. I had the music playing, you know, and I enjoyed doing it. It was just that it was, you know, it's seasonal, you know. And I did that, and then I went home one day and I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to open up a restaurant. She's like, oh, here we go. I said, here's what I'm gonna do. I says, I'm gonna put the trailer on Craigslist. I said, I'm gonna list it on Craigslist. I'm gonna give it 2 weeks. She's like, all right, watch. I said, if I sell it in 2 weeks, I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna open up a restaurant. If I don't sell it in 2 weeks, I'll continue what I'm doing. She goes, go ahead, do what you wanna do. I put it on Craigslist. I sold it in 3 days. I sold it to a woman from Rhode Island. She came down with her husband, and
I
she
just got
looked
back
at
from
it.
Newport. Love Rhode Island.
Yeah, she was from Rhode, and I said, "You're coming from Rhode?" She goes, "I'm coming from Rhode Island." She comes down, and they looked at it. They said, "Right, listen, we're gonna go grab lunch." I had to tell them where to go. They didn't know where they were going. I sent them to the deli. They wound up getting sandwiches, and they came back with the cash. Whatever, I don't know if she had it on her, went to the bank, whatever she did, but she came back with the cash. I took $500 off for her, and she bought the trailer for me. And my wife was working at the time. So when I came home, she thought I was out with the truck, you know, because it wasn't in the driveway. She came in the house. She goes, "Where's the trailer?" I said, "I sold it." She goes, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "That fast?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "I don't know." She goes, "What do you mean you don't know? You know what you're going to do." She goes, "You're going to get your ass out there and you're going to go find a place because you're not sitting home." So now I'm a nervous wreck. Now I'm scared shit 'cause I never, you know, I was working on a truck, no overhead, 8x10 trailer, you know. So I said, now I got to look for a restaurant. I got to look for a place, you know. So I started mall shopping, and I wound up finding a place. And from that moment on, you know.
Now, where are you located now?
Right now I'm in Belmar. I'm in the Belmar Plaza between 8th and 10th Ave.
So people who may know the area, obviously a lot of people from the shore watch this.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of, I always use them because they're a pretty big place, 10th Ave Burrito.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to say seven stores down.
Got it.
7 units down from them. They're at the end, and then you got a few other units. They called it, what the hell did they call it? The mall, something with the best food in Belmar, like food Restaurant Alley. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Restaurant Alley. New Jersey went there. Genovese, I don't know if you heard of the guy Genovese. He went there. He did articles on us and all that stuff, and they called it Restaurant Alley.
I got it. Maybe tomorrow or maybe tomorrow we'll go there for lunch. Get a really good workout in the morning.
Yeah.
And
You
will
gotta
we
come
be
by.
open tomorrow for lunch?
Yeah, we're open. We open at 11 o'clock.
So how long has the store been open? 5 years?
November 1st will be 5 years. Yeah, November 1st. I got the store, believe it or not, I was down there. We went down to look at a place, and there was this barbecue place that was down there. And right next to the barbecue place was a vacant unit.
Isn't Jersey Shore Barbecue?
Jersey Shore Barbecue.
Yeah.
Right next to them, there was a vacant unit. It was 4,200 square feet, way much bigger than what I needed. And that was the only unit that was open. You know, it had the things in the window, vacancy and all this available. So I went in and I looked at it. I was such in a hurry to do this. I said, you know what? I'm taking it. You know, I didn't know much about it. I said, I'm taking it. And Jersey Shore Barbecue, they didn't know who I was. So when they found out that I wanted to go there, and I understand competition, they didn't like the idea of it. So a phone call was made to the landlord. We don't want them next to us. So they actually asked me, what are you going to do if you come in? Because you can't do other people's food.
Yeah.
So they allow you to do 20% of somebody else's menu. That's it. So I said, hamburgers, hot dogs, sausage, peppers, and onions, Italian hot dogs. So the landlord approved it. He says, all right, you know what? I'll approve it. Jersey Shore Barbecue, they did do hamburgers and all that stuff, but a lot of their stuff was barbecue smoked.
Stuff, yeah.
Smoked. So it was a different type of food, different tasting food, and I didn't do much of his food. Basically, it was the burgers. That was really it. I didn't do brisket. I didn't do ribs. So they allowed me to go over there, but he put a complaint that he didn't want me there. So they wound up calling me back, and they said, listen, we can't accommodate you. We can't put you there. We're sorry. I said, all right. My kids, my oldest son, Anthony, and my daughter, Nicole, Dad, you got to go in Belmar. That's what made me go to Belmar. I knew nothing about Belmar. I'm not a shore person. Born and raised in Jersey City. I live in Centerville. Like, I didn't know what a lawn, we didn't have grass in Jersey City. So I'm not, none of that. So I never hung out in Belmar. Growing up, I used to go to Seaside and Ortley Beach and stuff like that. Now I'm going back in the 80s and 90s. So I really didn't know much about Belmar. My son kept telling Dad, you got to go to Belmar, you got to go to Belmar. So in my head, I'm saying, well, the rent is going to be through the roof because it's Belmar. It's a very busy town. I said, so I don't think we're going to be able to do it, but that place opened up and I tried and it didn't work out. So about 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call. I was out with my wife and the phone rang. I'm the type of person, if you call me and I don't have you in my phone and a number comes up and I don't know who you are, not that I don't want to talk to you, but if it's important, you'll leave me a message and I'll call you back. Because I really don't like picking up the phone and talking to people I've always been that way. So I said, whoever it is, they'll leave me a message. And when I got home, I listened to the message. It was this guy, his name was Ron. He said, my name is Ron so-and-so, Ron Katz, his name was. He goes, my name is Ron Katz. He says, I own a tanning salon in the Belmar strip mall. He says, I'm interested if you want to, you know, somebody told me you were interested in purchasing, renting one of the stores, if you want to give me a call. So I said to my wife, I said, it's a tanning salon. I don't want a tanning salon. What am I going to do with a tanning salon? Not knowing that he was trying to get out of his lease.
Yeah, he was looking.
He's looking to get out of his lease. So the landlord told him, if you can find somebody to come in and guarantee me somebody to rent it,
I'll let you go.
We'll let you go, and we'll terminate your lease, and we'll start a new one with this guy. So I called him back, and I talked to him, and I wound up going down there the next day. I said, how big is... I needed at least 1,200 square feet. So I said, how big is the place? Now, when you walked in this place, it was a long hallway, and he was sitting at a little desk in the corner, and there was rooms all on the right-hand side and all on the left-hand side. They were all tanning rooms.
Yeah.
So all I'm looking at is a long hallway from the front door to the back door, and him sitting at it. I says, "There's no way I'm putting a restaurant in this place." He said, "I said, how big is it?" He goes, 1,621 square feet, 1,621 square feet. I said, all right, well, it's actually bigger than what I need. I says, but the rooms were throwing me off.
Yeah.
So I kept going back for like 2 weeks with a measuring tape. And I'm doing this all myself, and I'm measuring and measuring. He was such a nice guy. He let me go in. He let me measure all the rooms. And now I'm trying to picture it, because when you go if you go into a place and it's open, you can sketch it on a page. You can visualize where you want things. I'm looking at a hallway with all these rooms, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you needed to plow the rooms over and start fresh.
I didn't know what to do here, So the landlord, I said to them, you know what? I'll think about it. It was the beginning of May of 2018. I said, I'll think about it. And the realtor wound up calling me, and he says, what do you think about the place? I said, well, it's big enough. I said, I just don't know how I'm going to do this with all the rooms. They said, let us know what you need, and we'll take care of it. I said, well, what do you mean by that? He says, what do you need done in the place? I said, I want to be honest with you. I need everything ripped out. Now, I didn't think they were going to go for it. They says, what do you mean by it? I said, everything you see in there, every room in there. Now, the rooms were numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said, I need every room ripped out but room number 8. Room number 8 was a tanning room. And I knew in my head, I said, I can use that as a bathroom for the customers. I said, I need everything ripped out and leave me room number 8. He says, all right. He goes, what do you want on the walls? I says, I don't want nothing on the walls. Leave the walls. Because in my mind, I know I'm very handy with things, like building stuff. And I said, I know what I want to do. I says, leave me the wall. What color paint you want? I said, I don't want no paint. He says, well, when we rip the rooms down, everything's going to be destroyed. I said, leave it that way. I says, while you're at it, rip up the tile off the floor, too. I said, can you do that for me? He says, okay. He says, what do you want us to put down? I says, I want the concrete. He says, so basically you want us to give you an unfinished unit, which we normally don't do. We normally put floors down and we paint the walls. You don't want none of that. I says, no. They says, well, we're going to have you sign something, because if we turn it over to you like that, you got to accept it. I said, all right, no problem. So they ripped everything down. They ripped, everything was ripped down. I walked in there was one room standing there. And I'm looking at the place, and my wife's looking at me, my son's looking at me. He's like, Dad, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to get to work, and we're going to put this place together. I don't have the money to have contractors come in and do all this. I don't have the money to do it.
You got to bootstrap it.
So I says, we're going to do this. So my son's looking at me. He's like, Dad, are you serious? I said, we're going to do this. So I wind up building my tables. The walls, I went and bought the paneling that looked like brick. It looks like brick. I bought that. I bought plywood, sanded the plywood down. I put the plywood right on the wall. And then I stained it. And then next to that piece of plywood, I put a paneling of brick. Then I did plywood, and then a paneling of brick. So I got brick paneling.
Cool.
And I stained everything. So the walls I did myself. The ceiling was the drop ceiling, the white. Went to Home Depot. We rented the sprayer. We wound up spraying the ceiling all black. And we started measuring stuff. And I went out and I bought all the equipment. I wound up getting all the equipment, charged everything on credit cards. Still paying them. Charged everything on credit cards, got all the equipment, put all the equipment. I drew it out how I wanted to do this.
But that's what it takes to get to a dream, man. Like,
it does.
No matter what the level of risk that you're taking, you have to go all in.
You have to.
Like, you got to go take the risk. You got to load the credit cards. You got to play the game with tax, whatever it may be. You need to go throw it on the line to go chase down that dream
Exactly.
and that financial freedom.
How I knew is that I went to buy furniture for the place, and when I went to look at the furniture, just the tables and the chairs alone were like $18,000.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
And I'm like, this is. Meanwhile, I don't even have a kitchen equipment. And I said, there's no way I can do this.
How many grills do you have in the place now?
Grills, flat top. I have
Yeah.
I have one big flat top, 48 inch. I have 3 deep fryers. I have the stove. I have a steam table. I have regular grills, countertop grills.
How many tables do you have in the place?
Tables that people sit at. We got a total. I built. We have 9 tables. I have a total of 3 tables that hold 2 people up against the wall. I have 2 bars with bar stools that I have, and I have 4 tables outside.
And it's all
outside
full
dining.
service?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many
it's all-
employees do you guys have in there?
Employees?
Yeah.
It's all family.
So-
Me, my son Anthony, my brother-in-law Billy, my son John, my daughter Nicole, and I got my daughter's 2 friends, Alyssa and Anna, who work the front and help us out. That's all I got.
That's awesome.
That's all I got. It's all family. Great. It's awesome. They
Now,
say-
a lot of dinner traffic? Is it mainly lunch traffic?
It's both. Down in Belmar, it's you get your lunch crowd. We open at 11. We'll probably get
That
off.
lunch crowd helps, man.
Oh, lunch crowd. In the summertime, it's totally insane. It's totally insane. We get a lunch crowd. We open the doors at 11. Probably by 11:10, 11:15, we got our first order coming in. And from that moment on, it won't stop probably till around maybe 3:30.
What is your number one thing that people go for there?
Italian hot dog.
Italian hot dog.
Yeah,
That's
Italian
your.
hot dog. That's my pride and joy. I love making that, because I grew up on them.
Yeah.
When I moved down here, like when I said I moved when I moved down here, I couldn't find the food nowhere, I tell you, I used to drive back to Jersey City to get Italian sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell my wife I'm going to Home Depot. She's like, all right, listen, you're gone 3 hours. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell her because she used to yell at me. Why are you going all the way up
You
there?
idiot.
Yeah, I used to go up there for pizza. I'm like, I said, I can't find nothing down here. I don't
My
like the
wife's
food.
away on her own little trip right now, but she's from Long Island. She says the same shit all the time. She's like, I can't stand the pizza down here.
Horrible.
The pizza place doesn't have a good salad or a good dinner. So,
So I
she
used to
feels
go
your
up
pain.
there, and I was gone, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, all right, listen, I'm going. She goes, are you out of your mind? What is wrong with you? I said, I can't eat the food down here. So when I opened this, I said, you know what? I'm going to bring back what I was raised on up in Jersey City. Sausage, peppers, and onions, Italian hot dogs, regular hot dogs, burgers, and stuff like that. I don't use patties. We make our burgers. Everything we make, we got 8-ounce burgers. We mix them, we season them ourselves, we press them, and we serve. We 8-ounce burgers, everything's fresh. I even take my customers love me, all right? I'm a good person. Because a lot of people, you tell them, listen, I'm serving fresh burgers, we make them. Whether they believe you or not is on them, but a lot of them say, yeah, okay, yeah, you serve it, you know what I mean? But you could tell when the burger comes out, because it's not like, I take the raw meat already pressed, and I'll bring it out and show the customers. And they're like, wow, you really do make your burger. I said, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes to food with me, I don't want to be screwed over on food. I'll pay to eat good food. And I don't want to be lied to, and if the food's good. So I try to make the customers, what I tell them is the truth. And I want them
think you're
to
a
believe
perfect guy to own a hot dog, a deli, a
Right.
restaurant,
I
a
enjoy
bar.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do love it. My main thing, and believe it or not, I love making the food. I love serving the customers, but the most important part is seeing the smile on their face when they're eating it.
Yeah.
It's
You're like, I made that.
yeah. And I sit in my office. I have cameras, and I have my monitor, and I sit at my desk, and I watch the customers. Another thing, on my walls inside my restaurant, I have all old 1970 TV shows that I grew up on.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. I brought my place to a place to bring me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
So when I'm in my restaurant, when I think back,
It's like what you remember with your dad.
exactly. I was ready to say that because when I think of my dad, I get happy. When I meet people that knew my dad, I get happy. So when I says I got to make my restaurant, because my memories with my father was when I was young. I used to watch Abbott and Costello. I used to watch All in the Family. So I got all these old pictures on my wall. So when I sit in my office and I watch the people eat the food, and this is the honest to God truth, I'm not lying, you can ask my kids, they actually take pictures of the food before they eat it.
Yeah.
Because my burgers are like this.
Yeah.
My burgers are huge. and they take pictures of the food. And while they're waiting for the food, my brother-in-law Billy, he's been with my sister since I've been 5 years old. And my brother-in-law Billy, like he'll say to me, hey Dave, look. And I'll look. While they're waiting for their food, they'll walk around the restaurant, take pictures of the pictures that are on the wall with their cell phones.
Yeah, it's different.
And my daughter, my son, Dad, somebody wants to talk to you. Dad, somebody. This goes on, I'm not even lying to you, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day.
Because you're bringing up memories in their head, and they're wondering, like, hey, why do you have that? They want to know what your thought process
they want to know
was.
what made you, like you go into a restaurant, you go somewhere, you go into a sport, everything's sports, you know, and I do got sports hanging on the wall, but I have one wall with all 1960s, 1970s TV shows. And they're like, what made you, and the crazy part about it is when I was talking to my wife, I told her what I wanted to do. She says, do what you want to do. And I told her, I says, if we ever make it big, I said, it's not only going to be for our food and our personality, but it's going to be for the wall that I put in that place with the pictures on the wall. And she's like, yeah, and everybody talks about it. I even do trivia with the wall, with the customers that come in, like when we get real busy. I'll go out there, and what I do is I make up $5 gift cards.
Do you have any of these shows playing on a TV?
No. That I don't have. My sons, like, we're all into sports, football, baseball.
So you got sports on all day.
So we got sports on constantly because my kids are there.
Yeah.
So they got the remotes. Everything on the TV is sports. But no, we don't have none of the TV shows playing. I would, but Dad, you got to put this on.
You're making me want to. And my buddy Phil Rizzo, like I said, his father owned Boardwalk Hot Dog, which was in Brick. He's gonna hear about this, and I'm gonna bring him tomorrow. He's gonna be very excited.
Yeah.
You two will definitely get along. You two Italians talking too much with your
It's
hands.
great, man. I love it. That's what I said. I'm more of a person. Listen, if you're gonna walk in my restaurant with a frown, or if you're in a bad mood, if my food don't get you in a good mood, I'm gonna get you in a good mood because I actually come out of the office. My kids think I'm nuts, and I talk to everybody, and. Like I said, I get people now, customers that I don't even know that invite me to their houses for barbecues that I don't even know. I'll go home, listen, we're going to a barbecue. We got this. And she's like, who are these people? I don't know, they're customers.
Well, they're your friends. You develop
I became
friendships.
good friends with them, you know, and I talk to them. I'll sit at the table with them. I'll actually, you mind if I sit down? And then when
you're not that restaurant owner that gets mad when you're busy?
No.
You're
no,
happy
not
that
at
they're
all.
coming
Oh, I
in.
love it. I love it. I love it when the place is packed because I'll go out there, and like I said, I do trivia, and I'll ask them if you could tell me the name of this movie, you got a $5 gift card coming your way. There'll be a table full of people, and everybody's raising their hand. I'll say, no, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with you. If you don't know it, I'll go. My goal is to give them that gift card. So even if they don't get it, you're getting the gift card.
Well, you're engaging them. That experience you're bringing to them.
And they like it.
100%.
They like it, you know what I mean? And like I said, I go out to places to eat with my wife. I never, in a million years, ever seen an owner of a place actually, all right, yeah, you might see them walk by, hello, but I actually go out and introduce myself. My kids are like, Dad, you know them? And I'm like, no.
I have to give Chris from Fratello's, he's a client of mine, I have to give him credit, right in Seagard over where you were at the Academy. Chris used to own the bar up here on the water. It's now Pig in the Parrot. It used to be called the Sandbar and Fratello's. And Chris has now been doing the bar business a long time. He's got young children, so he has a manager in there now. But one of the best compliments I've ever given to Chris is your ability to understand all your customers. You know when their kids are going to college. You know when someone passed in the family. You always come up and make them feel special. I think you could have subpar food, but someone buys you, the owner. Right. I literally had a post that I did on Instagram this week about that. People buy you. Right. The product is secondary.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's the people.
No,
and
you're right.
You're somebody, just chatting back here quickly. It was an hour went by. We're just blabbing away. You enjoy it. You have a natural gift to gab.
I enjoy conversating with the people and stuff like that. I really enjoy that. I tell my kids the same thing. Like they're working because my son John and my daughter Nicole basically work the front. They serve the tables and everything like that. And I always told my kids, even growing up when they were small, I said, you treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't judge nobody because you don't know what's going on in their lives.
Yep.
Everybody's got their own problems. Don't ever judge anybody. Treat people with respect, and you'll get it back. And my daughter's like that, but you're so open with people. And I was like, the way I talk to my customers, like if you came in my place and you sat down,
we're like family now.
I'm gonna talk to you like I know you for years. Yeah. And your buddy's gonna look and say, I don't know who the hell he is. You know what I mean? That's how I am. That's how
I'm very similar.
And I make so many friends, you know what I mean? And the customers come in, and this is no lie, they'll come in to eat, and they'll tell my daughter or my son, please go get your father. And they're like, Dad, you get someone, they want to talk to you. I'll go out there, I'll say, hey, how you doing? What's up? I shake their hand. We just wanted to say hi. Yeah. You know, and that means a lot.
It means a lot to them, too, that you go do it.
It's great, because you don't see that nowhere. You don't see it nowhere. And the way I made my place to where, you know, I want people to stay. I want people to feel at home. I want that homey feel.
Yeah.
So, and it worked, because we get people that come in that will actually come to the counter and order food to go. Mm-hmm. And while they're waiting for their food to cook, my daughter or my son will come back and say, Dad, it ain't to go no more. They're staying. Yeah. I'll go out and ask them, you know, how was everything? They says, this place is amazing. The place is beautiful.
Listen, I'm going to get in there tomorrow. If not, maybe Saturday.
Saturdays. I'm there tomorrow. I'm there Saturday. I'm there this Sunday. I'm there Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, my son Anthony, my daughter Nicole, my son John run the show.
Sonny's. You did it for your pops.
Yeah, I did it for my dad, you know. And he's looking down. I got a picture of him hanging over there. I even got his wall. He has his own Mafia wall.
I like that.
Sitting over there. And I had a customer come in and says to me, listen, because I have a wall with all like Mafia and stuff on it and stuff like that, you know, it's really nice. He says to me, can I make you a picture? I said, make me a picture. He says, yeah, I want to make a picture. He says, can I make you a picture? I said, yeah, you want to make me? Yeah. You come in, because I get people that give me stuff that I hang on the walls, you know. If you come in and give me a picture of you, I'll put you on the wall. You know what I mean? I'll put any, and I tell people, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the terrible towels. I'm not a Steeler fan. Yeah. I hang anything up. You want to give it to me, it's going on the wall. So this guy comes in, he says, listen, he goes, I want to paint. He goes, I paint, and I want to paint you a picture. All right, no problem. He says, you know, how did you come up with the name Sonny? So I told him. He says, do you have a picture of your father? I said, there's a picture of him right on the wall. So he went over and took a picture of the picture. So he was leaving. He comes back in. He says, can I grab a picture of you? I said, yeah, sure. He goes, just sit down at the table. So he took a picture of me. And about 3 weeks later, he comes in with this painting. It's about 3.5 feet high and about maybe 7 feet long, of this painting of the Last Supper with all Mafia guys in it. And my dad is sitting in the middle. And I'm behind him. And he put me in the picture, and he put my dad in the picture, John Gotti, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. Cool. They're all in there, and it's hanging on my wall. And everybody comes in and says, where did you get that from? I says, a customer came in. He said he wanted to paint me a picture, and he painted me the picture.
You inspired him. Those people who have that art ability, that creative ability.
I had another guy make me
something inspires them. They got to run with it.
That's what it is. I had another guy make me a surfboard. He made me a surfboard. He goes, can I make you a surfboard? I said, I don't surf. He says, no, I'm going to make you a surfboard to hang on your wall.
Well, just so you know, you're going to get something Fireside America now. I don't know what it is.
I hang everything on my walls. Everything. I do fundraisers. And we do fundraisers all the time. Matter of fact, we're doing another one next week. And we just did one last week. And they brought pictures in to advertise for their fundraiser. They put them on the counter, you know. And they wind up giving me the pictures. They says, you know what? You take the pictures. Put them on your wall. I put them on my wall. I had a gentleman that comes in there 3 times a week with a bottle of wine. I have a BYOB. Comes in with a bottle of wine all the time. We make great seafood, too. And his wife always gets the flounder fillet. And he brought in pictures of him with Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito, I had no idea, was from Neptune, I believe. Yep. And he went to high school with him. So I have a picture of him with Danny DeVito on my wall. I got 3 pictures of him with
How
Danny.
much is Phil going to love this place?
You know who else was in there? Came to see me? Big Pussy.
That's
awesome. For The Sopranos. Had no idea it was him because he came in with a baseball cap and sunglasses.
He's hiding.
And meanwhile, I have all these Soprano. This was crazy. He had all these Soprano pictures on the wall. I'm behind the counter. He comes walking in with another guy. I had no idea who was his. He ordered, I still remember, he ordered a hot dog with mustard and relish and a cup of coffee. And with, the other guy ordered, I don't know what the other guy ordered. So the guy came up to pay for the food. And he says to me, you know who that is? Now, meanwhile, I'm looking at the guy. I says, what is who? He says, the guy behind me. Now, he's up looking at the pictures on the wall. So I said, I don't know, who is he? You know, I don't even know who these people are. So he says to me, turn around and take your hat and sunglasses off. So he turns around, he takes his hat, and it's Big Pussy. I'm like, holy fuck. So I ran around the counter, and I'm hugging him. So he says to me, 1, 2, 3. He goes, you got 7 Soprano pictures on the wall and not one of me. He goes, I'm not in none of them. I'm like, yes, you are. Now, I thought he really was. I was like, wait a minute, I got it. And I'm looking all around. I didn't have one. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have one picture of him in the. Now he was one of my favorite actors when The Sopranos were on, Big Pussy, you know. And I was like, holy shit. He says, all right, here's what we're gonna do, you know. And usually when people tell you something, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll see you again. He says, I'm performing at the Stone Pony. And I looked at him, I said, performing at the Stone Pony. He goes, I sing. He goes, I do like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and all this stuff. He says, I'm gonna be back next week. I'm bringing pictures in. He says, I'm going to autograph them for you, put them on your wall. I said, all right. So I shook his hand and everything. He took a picture of me. I put it on Facebook and everything. I said to my daughter, she has no idea who he was. So I told her. She says, Dad, you think you're going to see him again? I said, nah, probably not. Sure enough, next Saturday, he comes back in my place with 3 pictures in an envelope. Came back in the same way, took the glasses and the hat off, took the pictures out of the envelope. He signed them. He goes, I apologize, I don't have frames. I says, listen, you don't have to frame them. I'll frame them. He signed all 3 of them. I put them in frames. I hung them back on the wall. The following week, he came back in to look to make sure they were up.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so he was actually in there, the Big Pussy.
That's awesome.
You know, but yeah, Vincent Pastore.
People do that for you, just so you know. You're special. You know,
you know, I'm waiting for Bruce Springsteen to come walking in. I have a ton of pictures of Bruce. I have a couple of pictures of Bon Jovi. I'm from Sayreville.
They've been going to Jersey Freeze ice cream over there in Freehold, so.
Yeah, I heard he goes there. I heard he goes there, you know. I says, I would love to have him walk through the door. I said, hey, you know, anything's possible, you know.
You never know.
I even have a Springsteen dog.
Listen.
I have a Springsteen hot dog. I mean, I named one after him. Excuse me. A lot of our hot dogs on our grill, we named after the Antonio dog, the Nicky dog, the Big Johnny, the Double D, me, because I eat 2 hot dogs on a bun.
You're gonna need a double R dog.
Double R, you got
Ryan
it.
Robbins.
I even got the Nick Williams dog. He's the mayor of Neptune.
I like it.
He came in one day to eat. This is another crazy.
Hot dogs and eggs, dude. That's my
Hot
thing.
dogs and eggs good. I know. You're right. He comes in one day to eat, this guy, and he's looking at my father's picture, and he says to me, he says, you know that guy? I said, that's my dad. He goes, that's Blackie. When they call him Blackie, I know what they, you know, he goes, that's Blackie. I said, yeah, that was my dad's. He goes, I worked for your father for 17 years in Jersey City.
No shit.
And I hugged him, you know, because he knew my dad. The closest thing to my, so I hugged him. I says, oh my God, are you serious? He goes, oh, I got a lot of stories about your father, you know. So he wound up becoming a good friend of mine. And a matter of fact, I'm doing a catering job for him on Saturday.
That's awesome.
He called me up. He wants to, so he's been coming in all the time, you know. So a lot of good people. I met a lot of good people.
You got a good thing going on, and I'm gonna get over there and I'm gonna support you however we can. I gotta round this down, so we don't go too far over the time. I appreciate your story.
Yeah. I love telling it, man.
Well,
I love.
No,
you
you're passionate about it, and you obviously it brings joy to you, your family, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I'll try to support however I can. So, cheers again with our waters.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and telling the story.
Anytime. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the podcast and you want to learn more about it, check out the links below.